Card presents Back Issue Bloodbath with your hosts, Andrew Young and Petula Neal.
If there's one thing that we've learned over the years is that Diana Prince is wonderful. Welcome to Back Issue Bloodbath. I'm Andrew Young.
I'm Petula Neal.
And this week we are looking back to the 2001 Wonder Woman issue 170, A Day in the Life, written by Phil Jimenez and Joe Kelly, with artwork by Phil Jimenez, inks by Andy Lanning, and colors by Trish Mulvihill. It is a day in the life. Lois Lane joins Diana on a trip to the United Nations, to the White House for official business with President Lex Luthor, on a visit with Steve Trevor and Etta Candy, as a guest on a talk show, and more. Well, before the day is over, Lois confronts Diana on the nature of a relationship with Superman. Now, before we get into this, I want to read a quote from Phil Jimenez. Of course, back in the day, before Gail Simone became like the big writer that she is, she was writing for Comic Book Resources for a number of different blogs. And one of those blogs was 5 Questions With, where she would sit down with different creators, ask them 5 questions. And one of the ones that she talked to was Phil Jimenez after his run on Wonder Woman. And she asked him about issue 170 because she said that was one of my favorite issues. And he said, I like 170 for a number of reasons, but primarily because it showcases Diana in a way that makes sense to me. As someone who lives comfortably in a dozen different worlds, has friends and allies across all of them, is intellectually insatiable, and is always exploring, particularly via the sciences, is occasionally haughty. She is, despite everything, still a princess, is diplomatic but not infallible, fails occasionally, is confounded by romance and attraction, aren't we all? And most importantly, is someone who seeks nonviolent means to resolve conflict. I know I'm in the minority amongst fans, but God, I love it when she persuades people to see the alternatives through her words and personality rather than her fists. And that, to me, when I read all that, first of all, it reminded me why Phil Jimenez is one of our boys here.
Mm-hmm.
And second, it also shows me, like, of course Wonder Woman is Phil Jimenez's favorite superhero. That makes perfect sense because of everything you just said there. That's the type of person that Phil would automatically look up to. And because of that, he tells a really good Wonder Woman story here. When it comes to single issue stories, this is a really tight one. Was this the first time you checked it out, Petula?
Yeah. And I'm almost surprised because I did have that year where I decided I'm just going to only read Wonder Woman for a while. Can't believe I didn't stumble into this one during my run through Themyscira there.
Yeah. So what did you think of the story? Like, it starts out, of course, with Lois Lane meeting up with Wonder Woman at the home of Steve Trevor and Etta Candy. And it's such an interesting dynamic to start because it starts with the feeling like both Lois and Etta are trying to compare themselves to Wonder Woman and how that's impossible, sort of thing. So it starts with almost a stereotypical approach, but then it widens throughout the story and takes us on a much more human and authentic tale, in my opinion.
Yeah. That section has a couple of my favorite pages within this book. That wedding picture where it's like, girl, you let your man include Wonder Woman in your wedding party. Doesn't matter what your dress looks like.
Yeah.
It
There's
doesn't matter
Wonder
how
Woman
much
standing
you-
over to the left. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it doesn't
she
matter
even
how much you work out. Doesn't like it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, Etta even says in the thing, she's like, she looks amazing in that bridesmaid dress, and nobody is supposed to look amazing in a bridesmaid dress.
And then opposite the view of the wedding picture, then we have just like a full Diana and it's a mix, this page of some of my like favorite writing in this, but also just her looking fully fabulous. And there's that thing where people always ask like about a very, attractive or famous person, like what do they smell like if you got to hug them? Like when I did get the picture with Patrick Stewart and I said he smelled like Earl Grey tea and awesomeness. He didn't actually smell like that, but it was like a vibe. This part, when they describe she wears no makeup, no perfume, but when she's in the room, it's all you can do not to close your eyes and get lost in an impossible fusion of sweet white grapes, olive oil, and sculpted bronze. Like, damn. That is like, what a great way to describe her. and not focus on any of like the obvious kind of visual things or anything else. Describing like her smell in that way. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, lady, again, you let your man put her in the wedding party. Don't complain about it. Or
Yeah.
how about this? Don't put a picture that includes her up in the house. Like wedding pictures, you do multiple variants. Just the family, just the wedding party, just you and the man. Like, why do you have that one up? Like, you're punching yourself in the face here.
That moment is a short one, and we start the day where they basically boom tube, of course, the transportation device from the JLA Watchtower, all over the United States for various meetings, including an appearance on what was the DC Universe's version of The View. It was fun to see Linda Park there and stuff like that. It's like,
And
oh,
Vicky
yeah.
Vale.
Vicky Vale,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, oh, let's put these are the reporter characters that Lois Lane quietly judges for doing the show.
It's like, oh, we could never get Lois on here. And just it's like shade back and forth. Like you think you're too good for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lois seething off camera when Diane's like, oh, I'm here with. Yeah, that first, I'm not gonna say third, but sort of the first quarter is a little bit almost typical mean girl energy. But again, it's like as we see more of what Diana's day is like, this is all acts of service, even being on this like talk show.
Yeah.
It's going to talk to Lex. You think any of the men in the JLA could go and try to have? She knows he's trash. She knows he's not going to back her up, but she's like, if there's a small chance that, like, for some reason his interests might align with mine, because it would never be that he does anything altruistically, it's worth at least trying to ask him nicely.
Yeah.
And it's not even humbling herself, it's just presenting, like, this is what I need. I would love it. Like, lobbyists do worse for worse people all the time. And if anything, I'm judging Lois for judging her throughout this more, and not because of the jealousy, just because it's a bit of that, well, I think she needs to think in some way she's better than her,
Yep.
needs to try to hold on to something. And then as that sort of crumbles, then she kind of needs to she's clawing at straws for a bit, and then eventually she just realizes, like, no, this lady is literally built hashtag from clay different. And it's not about her versus anyone. She's literally just out here in the streets all day just trying to help people.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you talked about with the Lex Luthor thing, Wonder Woman believes in diplomacy. She believes in representing her nation and trying to find bonds with the US to enact things that she believes in. And unlike Lex Luthor, she truly believes in the thing. She's not just thinking about political power play. She's thinking about how can we bring peace to more people? And she knows at this point, because in the comics, a little backstory at this time, Themyscira had gone through huge upheaval. There was a civil war, and the monarchy that was set up in Themyscira was no more. And throughout this, Wonder Woman does not have her tiara. And Lois is wondering about it. She's questioning about it, but that's the reason why. The reason why is they've gone through bitter war on a place that she grew up on knowing as a place of peace. And so this is something that has shaken Diana's feelings and her emotions, but has not shaken her beliefs. She still believes that peace and love are the right way to go. And she believes that we can help more people by extending our branches out to one another. And so that's why she goes to Lex. She needs Lex's backup from the US when she goes to the UN and talks about peace talks, because she doesn't want to be seen as hypocritical to the other UN members because of what just happened in Themyscira. And of course, Lex says, yeah, I'll do it. But when she stands up at the UN, Lex does not do anything. Lex doesn't send anything. So she's up there, and there are some people there that quietly snicker at the things she's saying because they believe she's being hypocritical. But she's being genuinely who she is. And it's a combination of that moment afterwards, of her resolve being like, well, I did what I had to do, but I am a person. I do feel a little upset about that. To then also have the moment with, leave his name is Trevor something, right?
Trevor Barnes.
There you go, Trevor Barnes, who would end up being set up as a love interest during the Phil Jimenez run. She runs into him at the UN, and he kind of spurns her advances. And so, like any person, when they kind of get turned down for a date, there's a little bit of wounding of the psyche and of the ego. Again, she takes it on the chin. She's a trooper, but she's human. And it's these moments where I feel like Lois, the jealousy that is pushing in my mind, I've got to make myself feel like I'm better than her, starts to soften because now she's seeing, the stuff that Wonder Woman has to deal with, that her life isn't perfect. And it might seem like a bit catty, but at the same time, that's a human emotion. When you have there's always going to be other people in your life who, as much as you shouldn't, you will compare yourself to in some way. And I felt that the way that it is handled in this book is very human and very authentic and really made me care for Wonder Woman, but also made me see, Lois as more human too.
Definitely. The conversations that they also have with other people throughout the day, I would say there's a few panels that are a bit heavy on text, but they do a good job. Sort of after you have one of those, then you get kind of, if you turn the page, it opens up a little, you get to breathe. The talk show stuff, and then like the hard fast montage of like, look at her, like training sex workers on hand-to-hand combat and
Yeah.
whatever, like that, a few cuts here and there. But for the most part, they do a great job of sort of having us move through all these different places using the boom tube in a real sort of fast travel by map kind of way, with Lois, like, commenting, sniping, narrating, feeling her feelings, getting caught in her feelings. The way she recoils when she calls him Cal, it's just like, girl, other people can use your man's first name. Like, be for real. Get
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah, it's just it's a really good kind of bottle issue. Like, I could say, you could give this to anyone and say, here's kind of a great take on both a modern Lois and a modern Wonder Woman. It doesn't do Lois that many favors. She doesn't come off, I don't think Lois comes off looking too great in this one, because it's like, look at the opportunity you have to travel around with somebody like this who's doing all of this as part of their mandate to be like of service. And you spend half the day obsessed that she's like not even your man's work wife. You should be looking at Bruce if you're worried about
Yeah.
if you're worried about a
Mm.
weird enemies to lovers situation. Don't worry
Yeah.
about his like work wife. Worry about his rival at work. That's the one that he's got a little too much heat with. All that to say, I really think this is a great sort of take on, this is what it must be like if you were somebody like her with her background and her kind of personal mandate in the modern world, because she would be doing everything from like going to like, help farmers, hold babies, support women, because again, there's a lot of woman stuff, but like that's where she's from.
Yeah.
So she's like always finding like these little bits of Themyscira in the day, even like the View show of it all. She's not going to a Charlie Rose or whatever. She's not going to, talk to Stephen A. Smith about the WNBA. She's like on a show that's like, whatever you may say about those kinds of shows, it's all women getting to talk.
No, yeah, no, totally.
Yeah. So
Totally.
I did love that. It made sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And well, you brought up the whole Cal thing. Wonder Woman continued referring to Superman as Cal. What I really
Like,
liked,
what am I supposed to call him?
yeah,
Clark?
but like that's the thing. Lois is kind of upset because she refers to him as Clark. That's who Superman is to her. It's Clark Kent. The otherworldly side of Superman's life is not necessarily something that translates perfectly into his marriage with Lois. She sees him as Clark because that's how she met him, everything like that. But with someone like Wonder Woman, Cal makes sense because she is also, although she's from Themyscira, which is on the earth, it might as well be otherworldly because it's a different reality from the world. And so that is part of the connection of Superman and Wonder Woman's friendship.
Yeah, the 1,000-year fight thing really got
Yeah,
her.
the
Yeah.
1,000 years stuck in that place. And that was something I remember that actually being part of the run before that, where that was addressed. And what I love is that this is the first time Lois has found out about it. It's almost like she's angry because Clark never mentioned that to her, you know? And that's like little snippets like that to show that it's like, even in the best marriage, you're going to have moments where you will feel insecure about something. And this is like a perfect example of that. I thought it was well handled. I didn't think it was stereotypical or catty. I felt it was like, yeah, in this situation, this is how these two people would first start talking until, the rocky ground is smoothed.
I just think Lois is smart. That's sort of her thing. So that she couldn't wrap her mind around. Like, I met him when he was, cosplaying, farm boy Huck. It got his job in the big city. Meanwhile, him and this lady, like, they are always the ones doing like super stuff. Like, they're the ones flying, they're air support.
They've been to other
She
dimensions, other
she's
worlds.
literally, allegedly, god dirt. He's a literal alien. Like, their relationship is not about quotidian nonsense. Her name is not Jimmy. Like, this is Diana, princess
Yeah.
from like a magical island of only ladies. And your man came from a whole other planet. Like, of course she calls him Cal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that part was just like, Lois, be better. Like, I know you're better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there was just a little, but you know what? If I was smelling this woman's like white grape, olive oil, and hammered bronze all day, if anything, I feel like more she was struggling with, if not attracted, but sort of her admiration of her, and
Yeah.
probably thought, I'm just spending one day with this bitch and I'm feeling some type of way about her. How could my man be fighting with her for 1,000 years and not want to, get tied up in those ropes?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
exactly.
She
Exactly.
jumped
Yeah.
back for that rope too fast. I feel like that
Yeah.
was where I
Yeah.
was like, oh, oh, oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
No. Well, we're going to get into the artwork, but before I do, I just want to talk about one thing is that throughout the majority of this book, Wonder Woman is in her Wonder Woman uniform. But there are moments where she comes out of that uniform for different day to day things. One of the times is they go up to the watchtower so she can do a little bit of studying, science study. And she gets into the classic Diana Prince white turtleneck look. And I was just sort of like, oh, that's cool that the white turtleneck look is just kind of peppered in there.
I loved all the fits. I loved her kind of, casual travel hoodie that she wore over her commuting outfit. Loved the talk show fit, the kind of suit. There was almost a little more, it was almost like she was raiding Donna's closet because it was like more of like a black on black with boots kind of look. I'm dressing up to see the president. I can't just be coming in here with my like thigh highs up to the sky.
Yeah.
So she went with the classic look with the Lex points out she almost fits in with the decor of the oval with the columns and everything and that beautiful. I'm not even gonna. It's not a cape. It's not a. It's if it's a cape, it's on the level of more of a Andre Leon Talley kind of something that was auctioned off by Christie's from his clothing collection. Like it just draped and enveloped her and had all these great layers. And the styling of the hair that she did with that one, there's two great side do's. The one was that with like a side kind of like not a full braid, but a twist. And then later on, when she gets shut down by Trevor, where it's more like just an over the shoulder casual side. Yeah, the fits were fitting. And then we get like this one cute little shot on the View type show where they have, as part of her being on, a little cheeky visual of, oh, we have a little fashion show of like your looks through the ages. Yeah. So that too, getting to see like long shorts, short shorts, here's a shield, here's a cape, high boots. Well, actually, they're all wearing the high boots. I feel like that's a
Hmm.
consistent look.
Yeah, it's a
And
signature.
and them talking about how, oh, did you stop wearing the tiara because like the sharp pointy bits were bothering you? Like just like the kind of dumb stuff that a talk show probably would ask someone like her. Like,
Yeah,
oh wait, no,
totally.
you're here to talk about your philanthropy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let
Oh my God. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I think it looks right. The actual first shot of Wonder Woman in this book probably takes the cake. Her standing in Steve Trevor and Etta Candy's apartment house type thing.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it captures like bam, there's Wonder Woman. That's the Wonder Woman you picture in your head when you think of Wonder Woman to a T. And yeah, Phil did amazing on this. Of course, he wrote the issue with Joe Kelly, and I remember him saying at the time that a lot of people really commended him for the writing of the issue and stuff like that, and kind of left Joe out of there. And Phil was very adamant at the time that it's like it wouldn't have been as good as it was if it wasn't there, Joe working with me. He gives the proper props to Joe in this, but the artwork is just, this goes up there with some of the best of Phil's work. Phil is just really like, the lines are perfect. It's very obvious when you look at Phil Jimenez's work that like a George Perez was the George Perez Wonder Woman was probably his inspiration for his run. It's all there. It's funny. I kind of forget about Phil Jimenez every now and then we do something of his on the show, and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, amazing artist.
And the way she just pops in every panel, really, the gods spent a little more time on you. Yeah. Because, every other character, like, they look Lex is Lexing, Lois in her little business suit, her cute little lapels, very sensible haircut. But every line on Diana and just her hair, the hair, it's just glorious. The capes, all of it. There's just a little more attention to detail. And it does add to that sense of otherness for her because she's just slightly apart from the mere mortals that we are encountering.
No, totally. And just to finish off here, Phil Jimenez was interviewed by Sci-Fi Wire in 2017 talking about Wonder Woman. And he said some interesting stuff. Wonder Woman at her core speaks about 2 or 3 things. One is sex and one is war. And then one is the sort of intersection of both. And then he would go on to say that Wonder Woman is an inherently political character and that everything that is equated with Wonder Woman has some sort of political connection. And in this issue, we kind of see all of that kind of played with.
Absolutely. One of my favorite moments is them playing pool at the bar at the end, where she just casually has like the lasso on her hip. I love that too. It's like all of the fits that we just get like t-shirt, jeans, but let me keep this lasso handy.
Yeah, it's important.
And because it keeps me honest when I'm playing games of chance.
Exactly. That's the thing, is that we, the lasso of truth is well known. The lasso has that power. And this lasso, the entire time, she is touching it throughout the entire, there's not one point where she is not touching it. So you get the truth, like she holds herself to the truth at all times. And that is pretty cool.
And that's, I think, also why she's confounded and almost quizzical about Lois's continued suspicion, because it's like, girl, I'm literally wearing this thing all the time. I'm not new to this. I am true to this because I cannot lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like, if I say I don't want your mans, I don't want your mans. Look at the rope I'm wearing.
Yeah. Exactly. Overall, again, a great single issue story, one that anybody could pick up at any time, and maybe not even know anything about Wonder Woman, and you will get everything you need in this issue. This issue is a really good representation of Wonder Woman, her character, and what she stands for. And it's definitely one that people should check out. If you can track down the issue, that's great. It's also available digitally, I believe, through Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find it there. Definitely give it a read. If you're looking for a good single issue story, this is a good one.
Absolutely. And if you just love Wonder Woman's hair, just cascadingly, definitely a great one too.
There you go. So definitely check it out. We've come to the end of another episode of Back Issue Bloodbath. But Tula, where can the good folks find you?
At inative.com, on social things at Obesa Cantavit, OBESACANTAVIT, and here with you.
Of course, you can find everything I do over at geekcardshow.com. Follow me on Twitter at geekcard. Follow me on Instagram at Andrew_of_geek_hard. Follow this very show on Facebook at Back Issue Bloodbath. We post a new episode every week there. Of course, we also post at geekcardshow.com. But the easiest way to make sure you don't miss an episode is to subscribe to us on your podcasting platform of choice. And while you're there, leave a 5-star rating and review. And, maybe you have a big Wonder Woman fan in your life. Tell them about this episode. Maybe they'll check out more episodes of Back Issue Bloodbath. This has been Back Issue Bloodbath. I've been Andrew Young.
I've been Patul O'Neill.
Have yourself a wonderful good.